It's feel the heat. Feel the heat. Yes, we will. You can see it glistening, my skin glistening as I come to you happy 420 live, everybody. I'm Jeff Kravitz, your host. Welcome to another edition. I think it's episode 104. We've been coming to you now for months and months, and I feel like I'm in the trenches here. And it's good to see you all. I can see you all tuning in slowly. It's 420. Everybody's tuning in. I realize it's 7:20 now. By the time I hit this time of the day, I'm well past it 4:20. I'm much mellower here in Jersey for some reason. I don't know why it is. You figured I'd be mellower in California, but you know, it's relaxing. Today was a rain day here with thunderstorms, and that's something you don't get in California. It's unique. You know, you sit around, you're like, okay, I'm going to sit here and enjoy the thunderstorm. So, you know what? I think we're going to kill the key light and just go with that. And I don't think I look as schwitzy. Okay. And then you guys, maybe I'll turn it on as it gets darker. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you survived another week of pandemic and trying to get back to life. My brother's working here at the Aria Casino at the Borgata. And I know he's going back to work. They're having friends and family coming the next couple days. I wasn't invited. I don't really gamble, especially with my life. So I'm going to stick to the outdoor activities and enjoy the beautiful, beautiful open air things that are happening outside, the boardwalk, the beach and everything. But I had friends hit me up already. They're like, can we go to the casino tonight? And I'm like, I am not going to casino. It's friends and family anyway. They're like, your family? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it's been beautiful. As you can see, my skin tone every day as we do the show and the longer I'm here at the shore is going to get darker and darker and darker until I turn full Oompa Loompa. And when that happens, you'll know because you'll just be looking at an orange, basically an orange on the screen talking at you. So today we have a wonderful guest, Nicole Atkins. She is a singer-songwriter, and I listened to her record, Italian Ices, today so much it cooled me off on this hot day. And, you know, I know all about Italian Ice just because I'm from South Jersey and, you know, Philly, but I'm not sure that's what she meant, but we're going to find out in a little bit. She's getting ready and we are warming you guys up and I'm already warm. So I'm already feeling the heat. I couldn't tell you what's going on in the world because one thing about going on vacation, I'm just not tuning into the news. I'm not watching. You just don't care. And I can understand the disconnect, the ability to unplug, the ability not to watch, to not tune in. And I know that happens to me a lot. People are like, we're not going to watch and tune in. But, you know, it's been great coming to you guys now. And we're about to come into the end of the week this week. And next week is the 39th birthday of music television. MTV is 39. And I think MTV will always be 39. And I've been talking to some of my friends that have been working at MTV for years. And we're plotting a couple shows next week to come to you and talk about all those amazing moments, the unplugs, the rockin' jocks, the VMAs, the movie awards, all the stuff that MTV brought us all these years, including the Nickelodeons, the VH1s, everything else that was wrapped up into it. It was a huge part of my life. And I have millions of pictures that you know, is a small cottage industry for me, just and helping me pay the bills while I'm not working is selling a lot of the stock that I have. So we're going to shout out to a couple of our friends at the old MTV, and then we're going to take a trip to the Ashers and unveil our new chocolate bar, the 420 Live chocolate bar. If you've been sleeping under a rock, we're going to have our own candy bar. The Asher company is going to do it for us. This is their website. If you use the 420 Live code, you get the chocolate bar, and you have to spend $75, but you still get the discount, and you get the chocolate bar. And we're going to unveil next week everything that's in it. We're going to go to the factory. We're going to check it out. So that's coming up. So let me hit the schwitz rag here because I think I'm melting. And before I bring Nicole in, I want to look my best. I want to make a good impression on beautiful ladies. You know how I am. I met Nicole Atkins actually at the beginning of the pandemic. And we met on House Party, of all places. My friend Phoebe was on the House Party. And we all started talking and stuff. And Nicole, her record's out now. And we got a lot to talk about. So let's say hi to Nicole Atkins. Hello, Nicole.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. You don't look that shiny.
You know, being in Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, I shut the light. I shut the shiny light off. I definitely
Yeah.
had it.
You look
I
very,
had the
very
shiny
matte.
light on.
You look very matte to me. So
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. Where are you?
I'm in Neptune City, New Jersey, at my parents' porch.
Oh, so you're
So
very close. You're kind of close. You're within an hour.
yeah. My sister, I think, went to Atlantic City last weekend or something. I don't know. I'm like, stay away from me. But yeah, we're right by it's a weird scene up here. It's me and my band and my husband, and we're all living at my parents' house. So we are
Wow.
yeah, we're quarantined together and doing a little TV show for Amazon Music's Twitch channel on Wednesdays. So it's very cozy. It's weird.
So have you been playing on the show, or what's the show about?
So it's like a variety show, like kind of when you were talking just now about MTV in the early days, like I'm kind of basing it off of the early MTV model, because those were like the shows that I grew up on, like loving, like the Julie Brown show, or what was it with Dave Coulier when he was like
Yeah.
like Randy of the Redwoods, all of those sketches and stuff, so it's like a hybrid of like Pee-wee's Playhouse meets early MTV, and we play live, and then guests send us videos of their music, and we boop it in there.
And how did this idea come about?
It came about like right at the beginning of the lock-in for the pandemic. We were just setting out to start our tour at South by Southwest, and so we loaded up the van and then unloaded it. And everybody went home, and my rhythm section was working in a tobacco store in Muscle Shoals, and I was just like, that sucks. So I had a record coming out, and I didn't want to just like let it poof away, because we worked so hard on it. So I started doing shows from my attic, and luckily, like, my husband's a sound guy, and my neighbor did the Rush documentary, so I had like good sound and good camera work, and all of the guests said yes, because nobody was doing anything. And Amazon saw it, and they hooked us up with a show on their Twitch channel. So I went shark fishing with Dean Ween last week.
How
for
was
his
that?
segment. It was awesome. Like,
Did he
I'm
catch
not a
anything?
fish. He did. He caught like right before we went. He's like, I hope that I catch you a glorious sea monster for your show. And he ended up catching a 100-pound southern stingray. It was giant. Yeah, and it made me like think, like, I was gonna go swimming before we started, and I was like, thank God I did go swimming.
Oh, you mean
I want
just jump in the water out there in the middle of the ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so we did that, and it's weird, like, not being into fishing. It's really fun to listen to people talk about fishing. It's very soothing and like heartwarming.
Well, they're very addicted. They're very addicted to it, right?
Yeah, that's all they talk about.
That's all Mickey. And that's his thing, is the whole fishing is like his passion. Like, he could talk about that forever.
It's amazing, because I could like actually I could see myself watching a fishing show now.
Well, haven't you ever watched Wicked Tuna or any of those shows like that?
No.
Oh, they're great.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, can see why it's a thing.
They're a lot of fun, but you know what they say, they don't call it catching, they call it fishing.
Yes, it was fishing. Yeah, there wasn't much catching going on.
Right. But so what do you do with the stingray once you got it? You have to kick it back?
We looked at it, and his friend Nick, that's like a famous fisherman journalist, he like talked about it, and then he picked it up, and like it took a while to pick it up because it was suctioned to the ground, and then he threw it back.
Wow.
But I just like kept thinking, like, it has that giant stinger on it, and I was just thinking like Crocodile Hunter, and I was like, oh no, this is gonna be like where like Mickey dies, like the Crocodile Hunter.
Well, what's interesting is I live in Santa Monica, and Santa Monica has at parts of the beach has very bad stingray problems.
Really?
Yes. And the other day, 20 people got bit in the same day.
Whoa.
By the stingrays, and they're just in the very shallows, like almost ankle, calf high, and you step on one, and they just try to get out onto your foot and nick your foot. My son's been bitten.
Oh my God.
It's painful. They have to put your foot in the hot boiling
that's
water.
What they said. They said that they put, you know what, the hot boiling water, that actually works for bug bites. that I just learned this week, because we got
great.
bit like crazy by, like, there was a west wind and there were tons of horseflies. And so my dad was like, put hot scalding water on your bite and it kills for a second and works.
Yeah, we call them greenheads here, those horse flies, the ones
Oh,
that
they're
bite.
horrible.
Yeah.
I hate
So
them.
you have them up there in Neptune?
No, we don't have them here, but we went fishing at Island Beach Park by
Oh, okay. So
OBI.
they were out there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they were merciless.
Yeah, Jersey is famous for having some badass bugs.
You know what, though? Like, I live in Nashville. It is nothing compared to Nashville.
What, the amount of bugs that are in Nashville?
It's gross. I go to every.
Did you grow up in New Jersey? You grew up here in New Jersey?
Yeah, I grew up here.
You grew up in Neptune?
Yeah. So, like, I grew up in Neptune and I lived in Asbury Park after college, and like back and forth between Brooklyn and Asbury for like 10 years.
And where would you get your live musical experiences when you were growing up, when you were a teen?
Oh, God. So, you know the Saint in Asbury Park?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's right by the Stone Pony. It's a tiny, it's like, and it's still there. It's like the CBGBs of Asbury Park. And they opened, and I was 16, and you had to be 18 to go in. So I doctored my student ID to say I was 18 so I could go to shows. And
amazing.
So I would go there, and I would go to the wetlands.
Oh, so you would go into New York City. It was a quick ride into New York.
Yeah. I mean, for me back then, it seemed like this like epic journey to like get up there. But I remember the first time I went to the wetlands, I forget what band I was seeing. I think it might've been Mo. And, but I smoked pot and I got like really hot and I like passed out and I had to like, sleep in the little basement room that they had there. I was so embarrassed. I was like on a date and I was just like, I promise I'm not lame. Like, yeah.
What was the wetlands like back then?
I just remember like, I don't know what size it was now, but to me it seemed giant. Like I saw a show at the Roseland and it reminded me of like a smaller Roseland.
Right, but it had it upstairs and the downstairs, and
yeah, it had a downstairs basement, and like I just remember like my like date leaving me in the basement.
I was only there a couple times, but it must have been an amazing venue to have as like your grow up venue. The culture.
It was like but our main venues were the Stone Pony and the Saint.
How about you go to the Garden for big shows?
Yeah, I didn't go to the Garden until later. I mean, I actually haven't seen many shows at the Garden at all, like except for the one I played with, My Morning Jacket.
Wow.
And yeah, but I would go.
So did you see any of those? Did you go to the Spectrum, or would you go into Philly, or is that too far away?
I went to the parking lot of many big places, but I never had a ticket, or I never made it out of the parking lot. But I went to what was it called? It's in the Meadowlands.
Oh yeah.
The first like big show I saw was Jerry Garcia Band at the Meadowlands, and it was a Halloween show. So I went with a bunch of. Yeah, it was great. I didn't have a ticket, and I went with these older cooks that I worked with in the summer on the beach at like the cheese fry kiosk. And they're like, "Stick your finger up," and I was like, "What?" And I did, and I got like a 12th row seat.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
And Jerry on Halloween must have been something else.
Yeah, they opened with Werewolves of London. It was great.
Classic. Were you a big Deadhead growing up? Was that your influence?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like got everybody in this area kind of is a Deadhead. Like it's a big Deadhead scene here, but I got turned on to them because I like the artwork. So I was wearing like Dead comic shirts before I really listened to the music, just because I love the art.
Well, it's pretty funny because that's what happens now. You go into all these shops and they all sell Grateful Dead stuff. And when you see somebody wearing a Grateful Dead shirt, I've had actually people like talk to someone because they have a Grateful Dead shirt and they're like, "Listen, I just bought this shirt. I know nothing about this band. I thought this shirt was cool."
Yeah, but I would like. I started listening to their songs after that, and I would listen to their songs and like illustrate all like my own versions of their songs, like into drawings and stuff.
And when did you start realizing that you wanted to perform?
I just always did. My parents, they like to hang out and party a lot. So I would always have to like hang out. you know? So I
Right.
would always just like kind of organize all the kids and like put together a band. And I like love that TV show Gem and the Holograms, where like she was like had a band. And so I had my own band that was, you know, Nicole and the Illusions. And then I had a metal band with the neighbors called Whiplash. And we practiced in my garage. And then yeah, and then all these boys in my school, like I think it was around like eighth grade, they had like a Led Zeppelin and like Derek and the Dominoes, like kind of like British blues band. And I just would always imagine like walking into their practice and being able to like shred the solo from Heartbreaker and then be like, whoa.
Did that ever happen?
And I know I never learned the solo, but like I ended up learning how to play guitar and I joined their band. And so I've just always been in bands. Like even when I was in art school, I didn't want to study music because I was bad at school. So I didn't want to like ruin music with school. And I was just always in bands in college. And then after college, I opened up my own mural painting company. So I painted like a ton of restaurants, like or people's houses that wanted to look like Italian restaurants, which I was like, okay, cool. And played a weekly gig at this Irish pub, and I would play like Pavement songs and my own songs, and say at 11 o'clock, last call for sushi, because there was like a sushi bar in the Irish pub. Yeah,
This is all such character building stuff, right? Like growing up
yeah,
in Jersey, first of all, builds a lot of character, but then
mm,
surviving and learning how to rock and be with your friends and being able how to the music you love and then playing it. I mean, I think everybody, I was in a high school band. Everybody I know was in some kind of high school band growing up. And
yeah.
it's a huge influence on us growing up. But musically, because when I listened to the new record, Italian Ices, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
It sounds like some of it sounds like Katie Lang goes to New Orleans and takes acid.
Awesome. That's totally cool.
I love Katie Lang, and
Yeah, me too.
you have a very soulful voice, and you pick up you have so many nuances in it, and you're also your approach to producing. I also picked up a little bit of Beatles in there. I
Yeah,
mean, is
George
that
Martin is like my number one. Like
oh
he's
okay,
my number one favorite musician. I just like people that can produce in like an arrangement style. I think like I just think it's like one of the most important parts of the band. You know, is if they don't already have that in the band, I think you know having a producer or me producing things that are just arranging parts. Like I don't like to have songs with like you know where it's like a willy nilly solo because it's like oh this is the instrumental part so do whatever you want. Like I feel like every part should have a melody.
right, or an
You know,
orchestration behind it,
yeah, yeah, something to back up a strong melody.
right,
You
and
know,
the George Martin was definitely deliberate in everything he did. There was no room for
yeah,
improv,
yeah. But the improv part comes before the people hear it.
right?
You
That's
know,
when you're in the studio working it out with the band. I mean, what's your process in songwriting?
well, songs usually like will just a melody will pop into my head, you know, and then I'll put it down in my phone or I'll go to the guitar or the piano and start like just singing the line over and over and just all this other information will just come behind it, you know. And sometimes like the string parts come and the bass line comes, like it all come like sometimes it's completely visual at once in my head. So that's really nice when that happens,
So
you
sometimes
know.
you get the whole thing at once, and then other times
Yeah.
you get pieces.
Yeah, and then like those pieces, I just whenever I'm like, I'll call my friend Jim Sclavunos, who you know plays drums with the Bad Seeds, and we write together a lot, and we have a duets band together.
Hmm.
So I'll call him all the time and just be like, "Oh, I can't finish anything. I can't think of anything. I have writer's block." And he's like, "Well, do you write like, oh no,
Where'd you
um,
go?
right here?" He's like, do you write like as you go, like and I have books and tapes like full of it. And he's like, go back through that. So it's like I can fill up tons of like books and tapes with ideas and then rarely go back to it, you know, but it's there. It's there to use. You know, sometimes an idea for a song won't get finished or I'll struggle with it. And then 5 years later, there's another piece of a song that fits it. So it's all like, I always say, like, when you don't think you're working or you're writing. If you're an artist and a songwriter, you're always working. Like everything is fair game.
And you're constantly creating. It sounds like you build like a little toolkit, you
Yeah.
know, with little things to pull out when you're feeling what you need.
Yeah, it does feel like a toolkit in the way that, like, especially like, getting older and finding people that, you really connect with musically. Like if I get stuck on a lyric, I call Jim Sclavunos. If I get stuck on like an instrumental part, or I can't figure out like a strong chord bass for the verse, I'll call my friend Dave Sherman. So it's like I know, yeah, I have all the colors right now.
And then once you get into the studio, your producer, how much do they have to do with it?
So the former records, my producer Tor Johansson, he had a lot to do with the sound of the songs. I'd have a lot of like the melody lines written for a lot of the different instruments, but he would just like take them in a totally different way that I wouldn't even think of. And but for this record, I produced it with Ben Tanner, and so he really like held court in the control room, and I came to the session with the parts written, the music written, and then all the players that were on it. It was like Spooner Oldham and David Hood from Muscle Shoals, and then Jim from the Bad Seeds and Britt from Spoon. Like I gave them a lot of leeway to bring what they're good at to it.
Right.
But
These were your guest artists on different songs.
yeah, no, they were the band. Britt was a guest artist on like 3 of the songs, but the core band was Binky Griptite from the Dap Kings on guitar, Mackenzie from Midlake on the drums, David Hood on bass, and Spooner Oldham on keys, and then Moose on piano. And so, everybody had a lot of space to do what they wanted, but the melodic structures and more of the emotional structures were set out. Like I'd have a couple songs, I'd be like, okay, listen to this song just to hear how the guy does these ridiculous Broadway style drum fills before the chorus, so that's what I'm going for. Or like playing another song, like hear how this doesn't change in tempo, but it builds, just so they could get an idea of what I'm going for.
Well, I love some of the little production. You can hear some of the stuff it has a little extra production in it, and some of it doesn't. Some of it's very bare too.
Yeah, each song was produced the way that the song needed. Like even like the style of the song, like the song like Forever. It's very Jersey sounding. It's very like Bruce Springsteen, Cyndi Lauper, and I've always tried to steer away from that sound being from here.
Right.
But that song just wanted to be that, so I had to let it be that.
And there's a song that sounds like a Prince tune too.
Yes. That could be the same one I'm talking about, because
Okay.
it does kind of sound like Little Red Corvette.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yes, in the intro. But it's kind of like a tease, because then it goes in a completely different direction. But
yeah.
I love the nod to the influences that you can hear, because
yeah.
it just sets your ear off. It makes your head go, wait, this is, and then all of a sudden it goes off.
Yeah, the whole idea behind the record was to, I wanted to make a record that made me feel good, because like, the news was so bad. I mean, it's not as bad as it is now, but
it's all relative, isn't it?
It seems so warm and fuzzy now. But I wanted to make something that would make me feel like the way that, like, my bed feels, or like going to my parents' house and having my mom like make me hot dogs and beans feels, like just like a comfort record.
Oh, it was good. It was rainy day today. It was great.
My mom made hot dog and beans tonight. I'm psyched. Rainy day hot dog and beans. But I just kept thinking about like growing up in Jersey. We had the radio stations from Philly, and we had the radio stations from New York. We had MTV. We had the oldies stations and those like gas stations, like Cruisin' Classics tapes.
Right.
And so when you'd be walking from your towel to the boardwalk, everybody had boom boxes listening to their own respective style of music. So you got all of it in your head. So I just wanted to make what that walk would sound like on a whole record.
Well, I think you accomplish it. And is that your Italian ices? I guess, is that a nod to the shore Italian ice, like what you would get on a hot summer day?
Italian Ice is actually my dice throwing name.
Oh.
Because we would play dice after the sessions, and somebody was like, yo, Italian Ice, cool it, let's go home. And So, but I thought about like, oh, Italian Ice, that's like a great album name. And then it fits what the whole theme is. But my friend was like, you won't call it that. And so I just did it to prove him wrong. So,
So there.
yeah, so there. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you for making me uh, name my album after a water ice.
Yeah.
It's heavy on the water. I can't say water.
Water ice.
Water ice.
Yeah, I think where I'm from in Jersey, we say
Did you say water?
shoot, water. Yeah, and we also say mad a weird way. I always
Mad?
get that pointed out when I'm in the South. Mad. I'm mad.
How's Nashville
Instead
doing?
of I'm mad.
How's Nashville doing? You guys had a hell of a bad year this year.
Yeah, it was horrible. You know, going through Hurricane Sandy up here, like where I am, like I moved back in a month before it happened and lost like all of my stuff because our neighbor's house blew up. And that was like really traumatizing. And so when the tornadoes happened in my neighborhood, and it was horrible. But I was also able to process it in a way that made me like grateful for having gone through Hurricane Sandy because I got through it, you know?
Right.
So all I could think of was like, this is terrible, but it's gonna get better. You know, things will rebuild themselves, you know? So it didn't feel like the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I only think it didn't feel like that just because I've been through it before.
Yeah, it's truly like any kind of nature. When nature hits you like that,
you can't fuck with Mother Nature.
You can't fuck with Mother Nature.
Yeah, I mean, I always think about that. Like, do I have everything I need in a suitcase? You know, because you're never gonna know.
You have a go bag?
I do have a go bag. I mean, I had a go bag actually after that tornado because we got a couple more tornado warnings, and I put a bunch of family pictures and my passport and a couple letters, and then I called my husband, and he was in New Zealand tour managing Wise Blood, and I was like, "What do you need me to grab you?" And all he wanted was his coconut. He has a coconut named Wilson that he keeps on top of his speakers for when he mixes, and he's had it for like 20 years, or whenever Castaway came out. So
he's like, grab Wilson.
Yeah, get the coconut.
That's classic. So how's living with the band?
It's fun. I wish personally like I could be more entertaining, or like, you know, have some like cute girlfriends come over that they could meet and like maybe marry someday, but I can't. So, you know, it's just me smothered in men watching music documentaries and working on music, and like working on like some bits too, like some comedy bits for the show. Like that's the one thing, like the show definitely takes up a lot of our time.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of like editing.
Constant work, right?
Yeah. And it's good work, but I feel bad for my husband because he's like, man, I am sick of listening to your songs. Because he has to edit all of them. Like for anything, like for Zoom, for a podcast, like he's up to his eyeballs in Atkins.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And how they get along with your parents? That house is big
great
enough?
I mean, the house isn't big enough, no, but like my parents are really sweet and they're funny, and they've been watching movies on blind people mode, so it's really funny to like get stoned and watch them listen to or watch movies with like the blind people mode thing on.
What is that?
It's like
extra
for people,
loud?
No, it's for people that can't see. So like they were watching The Irishman, and I hear this like Alexa type voice in the back, like, and it's like, Joey walks out the front door, follows Murray to the car. Joey looks angrily at Murray and shakes his fist. And I was thinking, like, did Martin Scorsese like do this as to be modern? You know?
Oh, you didn't understand what it was. Did
no.
they know that they were watching TV?
They didn't know, though. They were like, I guess that's just how he made it. And I was like, you guys are watching this in blind people mode. And now they watch all their movies like that. They like it.
That's very interesting. I want to try it now.
You should. You could watch a movie while you clean your house, and it's like a podcast as a movie.
It's very interesting. I never even thought that they did that.
I didn't either, but they do, and I just think it's like kind of cute. that
So do
baby
you have?
does.
Yeah, are you doing any live shows? You have any drive-ins or anything
Um,
like that planned?
no, we just do the shows for the stream on Wednesdays. So, like, there's a restaurant called Langosta Lounge that we're friends with, and their dining room's been shut. So they let us go in there and set up all like we borrowed the lights from the Stone Pony, and it's cool looking in there. Like it definitely somebody commented the other day. They're like, "What is this early MTV up in here?" And I was like, "Yes." Like,
Ah, I
yeah,
like it.
there's lots of animal prints and neon, and it's good.
How did MTV influence you when you were a kid?
Big time. Like I wasn't into sports, and my family was really like athletic, and I just wasn't into anything but music, you know. So when MTV started, like when I was 3, the first thing I remember is HBO had The Who from Tommy on TV all the time, and I'd wake up before my parents and watch it, and I knew all the songs. And like my parents would be like, "Should we be letting her watch this?"
That's
And
a
I'd be like,
weird movie.
"Oh yeah, I loved it." And I would like answer the door for the mailman and pretend I was the acid queen before I even like
I'm a
knew that what that was.
gypsy.
Yeah, I'd have my baby blanket, be like,
Give me my
"I'm a
mail.
gypsy." Yeah, it was the highlight of my day. I was like, my fan is here. I got to do my show for him.
I can do my act.
And then MTV, when it started, we moved. When I was like 7, we moved to this it's a neighborhood in Neptune called Shark River, and the neighbor's daughter was a teenager, and she was my babysitter, and she would watch all these hair metal bands, and she was a teenager, and so I was like, she is so cool, and these guys are so pretty, and like I love David Lee Roth, like I loved him. I love David Lee Roth, and I love Twisted Sister, and like all the really bad like comedy in the videos, and then like those like video nasty horror movies like The Gate. It's all like it's and like early WWF wrestling, like all of that shit is like kind of
Ingrained.
what I'm doing now, and I'm kind of happy about it.
Well,
Yep,
you're in Springsteen country. Did you ever get that bug?
I didn't.
No.
Yeah, I never. I mean, I did later.
Right.
I did a lot later when like I realized, oh wait, like all of the same influences that like I have, like Roy Orbison and 60s garage rock and New York City punk, like those are all the same influences Bruce has. And I just kind of shied away from it in the beginning because I just didn't want to be into the same things that like my family was into.
So you're saying you're more into
It's
Bon Jovi is what you're going to tell
No,
me?
no. Although, like when I was like in like 3rd or 4th grade, I thought that I could sing exactly like Bon Jovi. I'd be like, guys, listen to me. I sound just like him, don't I? And they're like, I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, but yeah, I was like into like Broadway musicals and classic rock. Like I was really into the Who and classic rock and like old 60s musicals.
Well, yeah, I was into the Who too, and the Who led me to Elton John of all people because he played
Really?
the Pinball Wizard in the movie,
Yeah.
and then I became
Yeah.
obsessed with Elton John,
Mm-hmm.
and and also who else? That movie was so influential for me,
It's
Tommy, and
great.
that album too. But I had the album before. I'm a little bit older than you. I had the
Okay.
album before they made the movie, and then the
Yeah.
movie came out. I was pretty excited, but Ken Russell, who directed the movie,
Uh-huh.
he also made a movie about Hans called Litzomania, and
Uh-huh.
Roger Daltrey starred in it and
Whoa.
played Han Litz, and he had a 4-foot penis in the movie. So it's part of the script. He was a really strange filmmaker, Kurt Russell, is what I'm basically
Yeah.
saying. And
Wait, so Roger Daltrey had a 4-foot penis?
in the movie, not in real life, he wouldn't be able to
I'd like to
walk.
think he does in real life too.
I think many a woman did and found
Maybe it's just 4 pounds.
How would you weigh it?
4-pound dick.
That'd be a good name for a band.
I think that was one of our fake band names the other night.
Was it?
Actually, 4-pound dick. Yeah, it
That is
was.
great. So what you guys do, you get totally silly. You must be
Yeah.
climbing the walls.
Yeah, we're very like, the 3 of us. It's my drummer, my bass player, and me. And we're just planning on all of these punk bands we can start. while we're here. We have the neighborhood shitty blues band, which there's a bunch of shitty blues bands on the street that have been like having like little parties.
Oh,
And
I
so
played outside and stuff.
yeah, like playing in their yard, playing fucking Mustang Sally like over and over again. So we're like, we need to start a shitty blues band. And then like there's like some Airbnbers that are like renting the mafia house in the town, where there's like this beautiful old 70s style mafia house. And they have a band, and like I feel bad because they're kids, and like they're allowed to be bad, but they're bad. And the neighbors come over and they're like, Nicole, can you go talk to them, since like you're in a band, but like they're messing with my serenity. And I was just like, but like we're way louder than they are in the garage. And they're like, yeah, but you don't suck. And I was like, dude, as long as they're not playing the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I'm not saying shit to them. They can do
Oh,
whatever they want. You know, that's the one band I just can't stand.
you don't like the Chili Peppers, huh?
No,
Did you
no.
watch?
And
You have to watch the doc. You said you've been
I don't
watching
want
music
to.
doc. Oh my god.
And it's not even the band. It's just Anthony Kiedis' singing. Yabba
Ah.
dabba, yabba dabba dabba doo. Like,
Yabba dabba, dee
dabba
dee
dabba dabba
dee,
dabba.
chicka-ba-da, dee dee da da da.
Makes me want to punch myself in the face over and over again. Like,
I listened to a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers over the days. I worked with them back in the day, like in the early 80s.
yeah.
For EMI, they would hire me to go to the shows and take pictures of the guys, and then we would do a party afterwards, and you'd be in the party room and you'd do like contract signings and stuff. And they were just a bunch of young punk guys. But
I mean,
yeah,
Flea seems like the coolest dude ever. You
Flea's
know?
got a heart that is as big as anything I've ever seen. I mean,
I
he does this thing
see
called the
that.
Silver Lake Music Conservatory
Uh-huh.
that he supports. And I was talking to him once about my daughter taking sax lessons, and he goes, "Does your daughter need a sax?" Like, because that's what they do. They give instruments to kids.
That's
and
wonderful.
it's unbelievable. You know, it's big thing, and that's another little thread in your life is the New Orleans crowd and scene. Talk to us
I love
about
the New Orleans scene.
talk to us about your love for New Orleans and how you came into that city.
I always went to New Orleans. Like, I went to college in North Carolina, and I went with these people in my dorm. They just were like, "Hey, we're going to visit a friend in New Orleans," and I went there, and it was the first place I ever went to that I was like, I could live here. Like, it was just so wonderful and fun, and there was just any place that has like music on every corner, you know, and like more so New Orleans than like a city like Nashville, you know, just because the music is more of a jazz variety and more of a soul variety, and that's what I'm into. And when Hurricane Katrina happened, I got asked to do this artist activism retreat with a bunch of the women that put on the Tibetan Freedom Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So they did him before, and I think that like the guys from the Jacket nominated me to go on the next one, and they put a bunch of musicians together and from all different types of scenes, and we met with we just like we went to Dookie Chase's, and Mrs. Chase made us food, and we went to mother-in-law's and hung out with Antoinette, and like I was just like, wow, like I can only hope to ever have somebody love me as much as she loved Ernie Cato, and like just like heard their stories, and you know heard like you know what happened with the floods, and just seeing how much of a community that they have. And we just kind of learned how to use our music for activism in the right ways. And then when Hurricane Sandy happened up here, you know, that's I had somebody to call. You know, I called the guys from Bonorama and the guys from Pres Hall, and yeah, they're just friends of mine. It was funny because like Clint from Pres Hall had his birthday party here. They were randomly in town, and Danny Clinch was like, "Yeah, we're having a birthday party for Clint at the gallery." And my parents were like, "Oh, that's nice. Like, aren't you going to bring a friend of yours like with you?" And I was like, "My friends are all there." You know, it's like when you're a musician, like your friends are scattered out around the world. You don't really have any like, you know, like, oh, I can't wait to get back home, get with my crew.
Right.
Like your crew's everywhere.
It crews everywhere. We have an amazing scene. All of us, when we slip into New Orleans, there's an amazing crowd of people that we all run with, that we're all friendly with, and the same thing in New York City, and the same thing in California. Wherever you go, you have this base, which is amazing, and it's something that we're all missing right now because we're all kind of stuck, and we don't have our teams. We're not playing music, we're not touring. What's happening creatively as far as new music? Are you inspired at this time to write?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm more inspired now than ever to work on lyrics, you know. and just like more so digging on the lyrical part rather than starting with the music first. But doing this show for Amazon, it's like it takes up so much time. It's like 1 hour a week, and it takes up pretty much the whole week to get
Right.
ready for it.
Right. Are you pre-taping skits and stuff like that?
We're pre-taping skits, and I'm interviewing the guest artists, and then editing their tapes that they send to be put in, and then like doing like pre-tape stuff, showing like I'm showing people around Asbury Park and like the
Great.
characters and the businesses that I love. And it's a lot, but it's awesome. And it's awesome that like we're able to do it ourselves. There's no like mandate from like Amazon to be like, okay, and you have to include this person. Like there's a guy coming from he was in this show, The Newsroom, John Gallagher Jr. And
Okay.
like I saw him on Broadway, and then I met him at a Bad Seed show that we were opening. And so he's going to come down and we're going to do some duets. And I'm like, wow, I get to sing a duet with a Broadway actor. Like, that's so cool.
It's like dreams come true stuff. I mean,
yeah,
the pandemic pivot has made us embrace things that we would never have done in a million years. Like this is something you would never
or didn't have time to do
on your own. Right.
It's something I always wanted to do, but never had time, and I think too, like, musically, like I'm not interested in like developing a certain genre for myself. Like I'm interested in combining all of them, and putting them out as like the one me thing. So like the show, even like, it's a legit variety show because, one day like you'll see this guy that's a maniac that owns like the restaurant supply company store that is also like this 4 foot tall biker that carries a gun, and everybody's afraid to talk to him, but he loves me for some reason. Because I told him he said to me, he's like, hey, when I lived in Asbury Park, he's like, Atkins, when you walk your dog and it shits in the VFW parking lot, do you pick it up or do you leave it there? And I was like, I don't have a dog, Lester, but if I did, I'd let it shit in front of your store. And he was like, so it's like people like that, or like, different pizza places that make like the best pizza in town, or like, maybe Elvis Costello as a puppet or singing a song, or yeah, it's everything.
What's the vibe in Asbury Park right now?
So people are still wanting to summer in Asbury Park. It's not as packed as it was. And a lot of the bars and restaurants are struggling with the outdoor dining because, the weather's crazy. One second it's like beautiful, and the next second it's lightning and thundering and raining. So everybody's just doing the best they can. I think that people on the boardwalk could be a little bit more considerate and just put their mask on.
Are people just not wearing masks walking out on the boardwalk?
No, I went for a walk on the boardwalk, and I was like, cool, that's the last time I go for a walk on the boardwalk during prime time.
Right. Do you find it mostly weekends are more crowded than during the week?
Mm, yeah, I was there on a weekend, and yeah, everybody still wants to pretend that, I think, because they've been in for so long, okay, I deserve to do this now. But it's like, baby,
Well, I
we're
think
going to be in a lot longer.
you don't have kids, but the flip side is a lot of these people have kids and they're usually in camp right now, and
Yes.
nobody's in camp, so everybody's stuck entertaining their kids too. So everybody's climbing the walls right
Dude,
now.
sometimes during tour, I'll be like lonely, and like my husband is touring with another band, and I'm with my band, and it's like, man, I've slept in a bed with my bass player more than I have my husband this season. Like we're on a budget, not for fun.
Right,
But I'll be like, oh, we should have a baby. And right now, I'm like, I'm very thankful we don't. Because I feel for my friends. Like some of them are like, have full-time jobs, and they're full-time parents now and full-time teachers. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yes.
So I've tried to like help out my friends a couple times, like doing art lessons online for their kids.
That's fun.
Just to give them an hour where they're at, like, go have you time, and I'll teach them how to paint. So that's another thing creatively that I've been working on is I did a kid's song about Pizza Fridays for Amazon, and my friends that make puppets, they did all the puppet stuff in the Broke Down Luck video for my last record.
Right.
And they weren't doing anything. So we made this like awesome me as a puppet video. And I was thinking a lot of my musician friends are bored and they have kids. And so like, let's make a rock and roll puppet show. Like,
That's great.
yeah, I think, the one main thing, I'm definitely not bored, but the one main thing I'm missing is just, seeing my friends all over the place that I don't see much, or like talking to strangers.
Right.
Like after a show, like turning a corner to go get smokes and you run into some weirdo that you end up talking to all night.
Yeah, that's just gushing about the show, wants to talk.
Or not even, they weren't even at my show. It's just like some Spanish lady that wants my smokes. And then we talk about her life for like an hour, you know.
You got a lot of patience, that's for sure.
I'm a freak magnet.
I
And
love
I
it.
just go with it as long as it's not dangerous.
Any charities you're working with or anything you want to push?
Yeah, we're pushing, or we're working with Food for Thought in Asbury Park. So it's a charity that's helping out the local farmers here in the area that like usually supplies all the food to the restaurants, but now they're just stuck with lots of crop and no buyers.
Yeah.
So we're donating half of our donations that we make from our live stream show to Food for Thought.
Oh, that's great.
And then I do like little pop-up art sales on like Instagram, and I give half the money to Food for Thought.
Very charitable, Nicole. Well, I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah,
I really
nice to
enjoyed the
talk to
new
you.
record. I want everybody to make sure they get on their Spotify and stream that puppy.
And if you buy it from my website, it gets shipped from my house. So I'll have like some specialness inside.
I love it. And I can't wait to see you live and playing for everybody that, that's what you were built to do.
Yeah, it is. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. So that's the good thing about the Wednesday show, since it is live, knowing that everything could shit the bed during a live stream. Yeah. It does give you a little bit of a bump.
Well, has it happened to you?
Oh yeah. God, in the beginning it was horrible. Like the first 3 shows, it was like just seeing my husband's face like, and I can't, because it's live, and like everyone's like, so you're doing this ballad and it's just going wah, wah, or like one thing of like the show that we did with Nathaniel Rateliff and Seth Avett, like the whole thing was like in like, what is that? Super 8 camera, stop motion.
Oh, it was like lagging.
The sound was, it was horrible.
Oh, I know. Listen, trust me, it's all happened to me. Yeah. Everything that can happen has happened, but the learning curve's amazing, and the way you teach yourself about this now, and how quick you can learn by just spending a little time on YouTube watching a video.
Yeah, the learning curve that like my husband and like my camera guy Adam like have like done is amazing. And like for me though, like I feel like when shit hits the bed, I'm really used to it because I've never had a crew, so I'm used to like equipment or instruments breaking down, and it's like, okay, now's the time for the comedy show. Right. So after 20 years of that, like I'm fine with it, but like thank God I have someone else doing the tech.
Yeah. Well, your husband's handy. I'm sure that.
Oh my God, he's godsend. Now that we're living with my parents, my dad's like, "Hey, there's a hole in the roof. I need this." Or like showing him how to use the internet. It's a lot.
They all need help. The other generation trying to figure out that technology. Just imagine in 40 years when you finally do have the kids, and then they're teaching you something, what it's going to be.
I'm already left behind.
You're already left behind?
Already, yeah. Like, I mean, we do our show on Twitch, and I'm looking around Twitch, and I'm like, what is this shit? Like,
Twitch is weird, isn't it?
It's so weird. Because it's like, I think like, oh God, our show has to be this huge production. And then you see like just some guy talking about video games, and
not even
like
talking, playing a video game.
Yeah, like
it's
50 billion people watching it, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know.
You know what? It's a weird world. We're getting even weirder because we've all been home so long and patty. But
it definitely makes you appreciate though everything that you had. When you could start taking things for granted, like, oh man, I don't know if I want to like. I'm not playing Newport. Maybe I won't go. Like I would kill to go. Like,
I think like, the slapback's going to be before we would hem and haw when an offer came in. It'd be like, do I really want to go? Is it really worth the effort? Is it really going to be what I want it to be? And now things are going to come in. You're just going to be like, I'm ready.
Yeah, everybody's going to die young because we're going to want to do everything.
Or we get the COVID.
Yeah, or you get the COVID. And I don't know. I just think this, though, like, I mean, I think, if you ever have like a near-death experience, you can kind of like relate to this, but I hope nobody does. but I had one where I fell into a 3-foot sinkhole. No, it wasn't 3 foot. It was a 10-foot sinkhole. And I woke up in the bottom of it. And it was after a show. And it was like in the parking lot of the Baymont Inn and Suites at a fucking Knoxville roadside. And I could have been paralyzed. Like, I could have died, and I didn't. And it made me just think, like, okay, you can go at any time. Like, I could have a heart attack right now. But like, when you think about the worst case scenario, and everybody's really worried, like, oh, are we never going to play shows again? Are we never going to go to shows again? Are we all going to die from a virus? Like, follow the directions for safety and try to have as much fun as you can, because if the worst case scenario does happen, at least you would have had a good time.
Yeah. And I think what's happening is a lot of people are losing loved ones and not having that time to say goodbye or anything. So you have to appreciate everybody where they are and not spread it and wear a mask and everything you're hearing to try to stay safe. I lost my grandpa
in the beginning of this, like, but the last talk we had was a great one, so it didn't feel like anything was left unsaid.
Well,
like, I don't want him to be sitting there watching the news right now.
No.
So everybody should watch this. When they're finished, go call their grandparents.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. You're a beautiful soul. Keep up the good work, and we look forward to more good stuff. And everybody tune into your show. It's Wednesdays. What time?
It's 7 p.m. Or no, I'm sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Great.
On Amazon Music, Twitch.
Excellent.
And I can't wait to see your MTV episode.
Oh, thank you. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. My best friend is Randy of the Redwoods, Jim Turner. You should call him and get him on it.
I love it. Well, hook me up. Connect me with him.
I will. I'll do it right after.
All right. Cool. Great. Thanks, Nicole.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too.
All right, everybody. The beautiful Nicole Atkins checking in there from Jersey. We're all in Jersey. I kind of love it. Everybody, thanks for what a week this week. Michael DeBar on Monday. Mind blower. And if you didn't catch that, we've been hearing about him all week as his documentary's out. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Thank you, Nicole. Next week, Dan Cortese. We have a couple of our friends from MTV. We got a lot of exciting things planned. Keep an eye out for the new promo. If you haven't seen it, it's up on my YouTube page. If you don't subscribe to my YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube. I'm this close to ruining my YouTube with monetization, which means for every click, I'll get 0.0001 cent. So our friends at Solar Pipe, take care, everybody. We'll send Nicole and the crew. I'm sure they could use a solar pipe there in Asbury Park. Asher's Chocolate. We will be debuting that 420 Live bar. Even Live Lesson Masters. We had John Barber on yesterday talking about the Live Lesson Masters. If you missed that, it was a rollicking, fun interview. That guy, he's a little bit crazy. Headcount.org. We're talking to our friends at Headcount. We're going to do some fun stuff with Headcount over the next couple months. We're going to work a synergy to go together because it's one of the most important causes out there right now, educating people on how to vote this coming election. Not telling you which way to vote, but just what your choice is capable of, which I think is very, very important. So, I guess that's about it, folks. Have a great weekend. Peace, love, happiness to everybody out there. The hug. Oh, have a great day. Jeff Kravitz, 420 Live. We will see you back here Monday. Oh, also, we're working on JG25, a celebration of 25 years of Jerry Garcia being gone. And that's going to be on August 9th. It's going to be a special episode of 420 Live that goes from 420 East Coast time to 420 West Coast time. It'll be 3 hours of fun. And it's going to be a fundraiser for Rex Foundation and Backline. So we're really looking forward to that. It's in our partners on that, our Variety. So we're kicking it way up here at 420 Live. We got lots of great things planned. So stick around, and I promise not to let you guys down. All right? Take care. We'll see you